Then he takes up that envelope that he had put on the table earlier, opens up, and shows them his ideas. Guess what? Same name, same slogan, and all the same graphical elements as the marketeers came up with. How is that possible? Welcome back, Holy Man Club. It's good to see you again in this new video. If this is your first time here with us, we're all about wanting to learn to live as holy men and take responsibility for our lives. And the fact that you clicked on this video shows that you want to take responsibility for what you watch. So good on you. Now, let's talk Hollywood. Poison. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Now, kidding aside. In the end of the video, you will hear about a highly fascinating experiment, which really confirms what I'm about to say. But I need you to know first that I never ever thought that I would be making a video like this. Because I've been making videos since I was 12. I was part of a Dutch movie production. I'm educated in the media field. I used to watch tons of movies, especially right after I moved to Sweden and to be with my now wife, Katja. I didn't know the language, I couldn't get a job, and I was just literally binging Netflix and pirating movies. Sometimes 3 movies per day. At some point, it took longer to find a movie that I hadn't seen yet than the actual runtime of the movie. Some years later, together we did this month-long road trip in the United States on the West Coast. We went to the place where I had dreamed about working one day, Hollywood. Seeing all the stars on the Walk of Fame, driving around Beverly Hills trying to spot celebrities. We took a studio tour of my favorite TV series of all time, Friends. I knew every line of the series by heart and probably still do. And let me tell you a bit about my growing up in the Netherlands, paint a little picture of what my life would look like. So a new movie comes out and I check the pirating websites. Is it available yet? And then as it is, I download it immediately. I propose a movie night with my family or friends. I move the furniture around in the living room, setting the sofa at the perfect angle and the right distance from the TV, big TV. Later we got surround sound as well. I close the curtains, I make it dark, I put out all the drinks and snacks in front of us on the table so we don't need to get up or pause or disrupt the movie experience. I made it as much of a cinema feel as I could, for free of course. We also actually had this tradition with our family where on Christmas we would open first Christmas, like the packages, and then like every other person in the Netherlands, we would eat gourmet, and then we went to the IMAX in Amsterdam, watching the Harry Potter series. And after the Harry Potter series ended, we continued that with Star Wars. And IMAX is another level. That's insane. Huge screen, loud sound, completely immersed into it. So my whole point of all of this is I really loved watching movies. But I've left all of that behind me. I've stopped watching Hollywood altogether for a very specific reason. They're totally destroying your mind. Let me take you back about 6-7 years ago. Katja and I were on this spiritual high. We're coming out of years of confusion, searching for something we didn't even know what. But now, for weeks, we're studying the Bible so intensely together like we've never done before. And God reveals one truth after the other, and we're finding answers to our questions. We're having this real conversion experience that's literally changing our entire life. We're seeing the importance of what we eat and how it affects us, so we change our diet. We're seeing the importance of the Sabbath day, so we change church. We're seeing the importance of living holy, so we work on our characters and they begin to change. And then we're seeing, I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It shall not cling to me. Think of the movies and series that you have seen and ask yourself this question. What did I actually watch? Does this uplift righteousness or immorality? They may have made you laugh, made you impressed, used narrative transportation to make you lose yourself in their story. But did they elevate your thoughts? Did they bring you closer to God and His high standards of morality and character? If these kinds of questions and wonderings have ever come up in your mind, that's very good. That's a really good sign that you're on the right track. Because as Hollywood wants to keep you spellbound under their movie production magic, thoughts like those kind of questions and wonderings don't come easy. And during our whole conversion experience, God impressed us at some point with these questions. And I'll be lying to you if I told you that was an easy battle. I was so surrendered to God, I gave it up at the very first impulse. It wasn't. It was a war that took a while. This was my biggest passion. But eventually I couldn't ignore anymore that the answers to these questions were quite evident. I watched every genre, from Disney to horror, from war movies to comedies. And you can kind of easily imagine that the horror genre, to be crossed off. Like, yeah, okay, I get that. But Disney or just an innocent comedy, those were my thoughts until I realized that every single genre I watched included immoral messaging, things that were going against God's word or standards. And one of the most obvious ones, of course, being sexual immorality. Every first date should end in her bed. Dirty jokes entering your ear canals every 2 minutes. It was super tough to realize that my favorite series, Friends, just that fun comedy, innocence, even promoting good values, friendship, right? But then you realize how almost every other joke and storyline is sexually immoral. And then we notice no matter what we watched, there always needs to be an LGBT character in there, trying to normalize it, make it mainstream. And when we noticed this, that was like 6-7 years ago. I don't even want to think about how crazy it all must be now with all those additional letters. The sexual immorality is highly prevalent, but it's not just that. It can be something that has to do with magic, that the Bible very loudly forbids to stay away from. Or characters who lie and curse and break laws. But it's okay because they are the heroes. Or this idea that they're trying to engrave that you should follow your heart. Do what you think is right. Do what you want. Well, the Bible tells us our hearts are desperately wicked. Who can know it? And as I reflected on all this, I realized I'm entertaining myself with watching people beat up and shoot and kill others. It feels rewarding to me when the guy gets to sleep with the girl. I'm literally paying money that God has entrusted to me, to watch other people sin and make immoral behavior seem desirable. And at first I thought I tried to get away with it, right? So it's not that bad. There's some good values in here too. It took me a while, but eventually I came to my senses. Why would I intentionally expose myself to any form of evil? Is my life so devoid of activities that I could engage in that would actually be productive and help me on my path to holiness? Why would I let Hollywood brainwash me and let them imprint their agenda into my mind? Because let me tell you, Hollywood isn't trying to prepare a holy people for Jesus' second coming, to empower their viewers, to demonstrate the divine character of God to the world. No, they flip everything. They make the good look bad and the bad look good. Superhero movies. I had no idea how many of them are literally flipping the gospel upside down. We saw an amazing documentary exposing this, really eye-opening. It helped us a lot in our navigating through this wide array of entertainment options. It's crazy what they are doing without us even realizing it. I'll put a link to that documentary below. But let's be real, man. If you want to be a holy man, you gotta win the battle of your mind. Because what you focus on will grow. You become what you behold. You got to be focused and take responsibility for what you let in. Is watching impure things helping you become more pure? Is watching ungodly relationships helping you to build healthy relationships? Is watching overstimulating, high-frequency action scenes helping you to experience peace? And we shouldn't be naive to think that what you're watching doesn't affect you. It's just actors anyway. I used to think that nothing that I was watching was affecting me. I know it's just a movie. I can distinguish between real and fiction. Now let me tell you of that experiment that they did a couple of years ago with something called subliminal messaging. I saw this clip from a TV program called Mind Control. They invited 2 marketeers from a world-famous advertisement agency to come to a certain location, and they didn't know what to expect. So they come in, they sit in the office, and the host briefs them on the project. I want you to come up with a name for the client's company, a slogan for their campaign, and some sketches for a corresponding poster. He then puts a sealed envelope on the table and leaves to let them get to work. 20 minutes later, he comes back and the marketeers present their ideas for the name, slogan, and poster. Thank you. Great job. I actually also had some ideas that I want to show you. Then he takes up that envelope that he had put on the table earlier, opens up, and shows them his ideas. Guess what? Same name, same slogan, and all the same graphical elements as the marketeers came up with. How is that possible? Turns out, from when these two marketeers left their own office that morning until they started this brainstorm session, the TV crew had secretly exposed these marketeers to all kinds of hidden messages. As they were sitting in the taxi, standing at the traffic lights, there's this guy on the corner holding this newspaper with the name of the company as the headline on the front page. A group of people passing by with a certain text on their shirts. Someone who accidentally lets go of a bunch of balloons that had one of these graphical elements on them. Posters with other elements and text behind store windows. Their brains took in so much information without them being aware of it, that they thought they were being creative in a brainstorm session, while actually they had been manipulated from the start. And these were highly experienced professionals that work in the marketing field themselves, and they had their mind controlled. What you watch does affect you, whether you're aware of it or not. Now, you want to be a holy man. You got to take control of what's getting into your mind. Hollywood isn't helping you to take steps to holiness, supporting you in your fight against sin and temptations, showing you the beauty and attractiveness of righteous living and godly families and Bible truth. They have you pay them to entertain you on the path to meaninglessness and destruction. Ever since I stopped watching movies and series, I gained a lot more victories in my mind. I became less angry. My marriage improved. I experienced much more peace, and the list of positive effects goes on. I had more time for family and personal development. And most of all, it made me more aware and involved in the real life story that transcends time itself. The story of the war between good and evil. And you and I are in this story. We're in the last chapter. I don't miss watching Hollywood, because I'm playing my part in God's story. Holy Men Club, stay focused.